Every morning the world starts quietly, one soft light at a time. Homes flicker awake, shops open. People take those first small steps into a brand new day. And in all of that ordinary movement, there's something kind of extraordinary. A moment worth noticing, a spark you feel before you even name it. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's small, but kindness shows up right on time. And every morning we choose to show up with you so we can look for that spark together.
Good morning. I'm Matt Roof, the Uncommon Kindness Guy, and this is Kindness Rising. Let's rise together.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, friends. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another week, another Monday here on Mornings in the Lab Network. I'm Matt Roof, and this is Kindness Rising. We get you up 7:30 a.m. Eastern every weekday morning with a little hope, humanity, and heart. And today we are talking about a word that rhymes with heart, art. Not art as a career, not as a side hustle, and not even as content, but art as something deeply human. Because recently I had two conversations that triggered a bunch of thoughts that I had to talk about and bring here because I know this community cares about art in the world for sure. And what happens when creativity moves from private expression to public performance, right? And why maybe some people are creating so quietly in their lives. That's what we're going to talk about here on Kindness Rising this morning. Welcome in, say hello in the chat, get involved in our community here in the Mornings in the Lab Network. Excuse me. I am feeling much better this week. Thanks for asking. No, seriously, last week was rough, but this week I am getting back at it. I got my antibiotic, a few days worth of antibiotic in me. Still have that stuffiness, but the pressure and the pain and all that is gone, so that it's much easier for me to bring my full self and my full energy here to the community on Kindness Rising this morning. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. All right. I am itching my nose, though, for some reason. How many times am I going to touch my nose on the camera? That is the question. Get involved in the comments. Come say hello to me. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. It is another month. Another month. March comes in like a lion and out like a lamb here where I am on the East Coast, upper Northeast of the United States for sure. It's a little chilly today. It's actually going to be gorgeous this week, supposedly, but we'll see. We'll see how things go up here. Absolutely. Good morning. Get involved in the chat. Say hello. We're going to be talking about a couple of conversations that I had and about the idea of art, and about the judgment of our art. Are you creating something out there that you're keeping for yourself? Are you submitting it? That's a question that I had. It actually is what the conversation, the direction of my conversation was. I'm going to see if I can find, I meant to do this before, but I'm pretty sure you guys can still see me as I'm messing around here. Had a conversation, a woman named Ambra, Hubert. Ambra is a community leader and an artist herself out there in the world. And she's actually the keeper of the Weird Professionals Journal as part of that Weird LinkedIn network that we talked about last week. And she has requested submissions for the next edition of her magazine, her zine, both digital and hard copy, for those who really like an analog hard copy. I didn't get one. Vincent, good morning. What? Vincent Blakely, hello, everyone, whoever is there. I am so glad you all have joined me here this morning. And I'm talking about my friend Ambra, whose profile I'm about to pull up here, uh, who I was talking to. And I hope to have come out to the show one day. I invited her to come to the show. Oh my goodness. And yeah. So we were talking about the idea of submission and submitting our art, and how many people in their lives perhaps experienced rejection from their art, and that it maybe held them back, their creativity. They stopped playing something because they were rejected, or drawing, right? Turned into your art teacher and then got, good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. So, good morning, Sully. I'm glad you're there as I'm trying to nav around here. Boom, I think it's about to happen now. So this is Ambra, who I've been talking to. She's a community manager out there. She does some amazing things, and she does some really cool and creative stuff. And this is the post I'm talking about. Excited to announce submissions for this amazing work that she does. I'm trying to find the actual, maybe it's not out there in her featured. Here it is. Boom. This is the zine that she created as part of that uh, group that we talked about last week, the community that we talked about. You can see it flipping, right? Old school magazine, but these are art submissions that people have put in. Nicole Drake, I'm going to talk about her next. She's in here as well. And so that's Ambra's stuff. Just wanted to share that. And she's awesome. So I'm really excited to continue our dialogues about things like this. But this idea of submission, have you submitted something? Right? That's something that we get required to do in our schools and in our world, is submit. But submit actually has three definitions. The word kept going over and over and over in my head. Submit. Why is that? Right. So you submit something. That's one definition. I'm presenting it to you, right? Submitting it. The second is I submit, I leave myself subject to your feedback. Okay, that's the second thing. I submit that. I submit it as evidence, right? But the last is to submit, which means to give into authority or to be submissive. So it's just an interesting little thing. I'm like, wait, those two things are clashing with each other. We want people to present themselves not so that we can have authority and make them submit, so that we can release and lift them up. That's what we're doing. And she and I had that conversation, and I said, yeah, we both said, yeah, it's vernacular. People understand what that means when she's taking submissions for it. But it's just when you thinking about that difference. And what I love about that is it's all connected to people who probably have submitted a lot of things. They've submitted their credentials for jobs, but because of the way they were judged, their submission was judged not based on the merits of their talents, right? Or their gifts or their unique contribution that they could possibly make, because they're a little bit different than the mold. So that's my morning. A little bit of a plug for Ambra and the work that she's doing. A little bit of thought-provoking. Submit. Do I submit? When I submit something, am I submitting myself to it? and a little bit of conversation. What's going out there in the chat? Or I can't read people's things. Mendez, Araceli Mendez. Saludes desde hello from Dallas, Texas. Is that what I'm reading? I'm glad you're there. Uh, Whatever. I speak very, very little, understand very little Espanol, something I should probably spend a little more time on. I think the only reason why I passed the Regents level Spanish uh, credential in New York State was because somebody pulled the fire alarm during the Spanish exam, and everyone got extra points, and it was a whole thing because the school had to be evacuated, but we're not supposed. How could they control that? So I don't remember all the circumstances, but I remember being relieved that I passed the Regents level Spanish exam so that I could continue to work on my credentials. That was when I squeaked by on. Anyway, very interesting. One I wish I had spent a little more time on, actually. It may be something we could focus on learning together. Bring your foreign languages, bring your ideas. That's what we're doing here in our community for sure. Welcome to Kindness Rising on the Mornings in the Lab Network, your place to get up, get after it with a little bit of hope, humanity, and heart. Absolutely here on Kindness Rising at 7:30 Eastern every weekday, and then get on over to Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, and friends at 8 a.m. They will be there, and it's a little different show than what we have here, but that's the beauty of the network. We'll get you up on the right side of the bed, whatever you're into, and then you get over there, and you never know what the conversation is going to be over there. But you do know what it's going to be on Wednesdays when Cheryl Raphael Whitaker joins us with It Starts with Joy. So that's the Mornings in the Lab Network. Please check us out for sure. If you want to know more about Mornings in the Lab Network and the work that we're doing, what we're building, the media company that we are building, I'd love to tell you about it. So reach out to me and we'll tell you more. But anyway, that's my little commercial. All right. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm feeling so much better here on this Monday morning as we get up with hope, humanity, heart, and think about topics that are not quite so rage baity, but maybe are trending in the news that I'm navigating around here. Trending in the news, valid for our lives and for our conversations. And so I'm going to switch to a little bit of, I'm going to make a connection. It might be a stretch towards our art conversation, but this one isn't just an art conversation, it's a human one, because there is a lot of discussion out there, a lot of chatter on LinkedIn, a lot. I'm sure we have some viewers from LinkedIn out there. I appreciate you. And this one's coming up as people starting to realize what's going on in the world a little bit. Tools that monitor employees in real time, right? It's the remote tools. That's part of the remote work. Well, people love the remote work they want to stay, but bosses want to make sure we're staying productive, right? So how do we find that that blend? And the reason why managers, bosses, leaders of organizations and missions want to monitor is something called the Hawthorne effect, right? The Hawthorne effect is one of the first business lessons you learn. You might even learn it in high school business right now, but the idea that when people are watched, productivity increases. Yep. Yep. You can't see the effort, but you can measure the behavior, and Yeah. Are they doing what we want them to do at the pace that we want them to do? Right. But the issue with that is that workers often feel that anxiety feel it as anxiety instead of motivation. Right. So what ends up happening, that's the extension of the Hawthorne effect. Most people only think of, oh, when you're watched, you get busier. But here's the difference. Ongoing research, the continuation, the next step of that argument is, are you actually working? Actually, it's been proven that you're not. Most people are just performing work when they know they're being watched. And that comes from the Industrial Revolution. It's a mindset, right? As long as they're performing the work, yeah, well, that's okay because all they're doing is putting a nut and a bolt into together. Not all they're doing, they are doing vital work, right? Well, that's what it was at the time to build vehicles. Conveyor belt comes by. There's your nut in your bolt, you're not in your bolt, you're not in your bolt, you're not in your bolt. Yeah, so that's the Industrial Revolution idea. But here we are, 100 plus years later. And what we know is that observation will help. The right kind of observation, constant observation causes higher anxiety and does not necessarily create better work. It creates visible work. Does that make sense? I hope it does to you out there in kindness, rising land. It's an idea. And so that's my transition back to art. Because that's what the whole point of this episode was the second conversation I had. The second conversation with Nicole Garcia, for sure. Oh no. What the heck? I was doing good for a while there. We were having some bumps in the road with our LinkedIn streaming. And now guess what? We are back to having problems with our streaming. Okay, well, hopefully we'll be able to meet up with our friends from LinkedIn. Okay. Anywho, here we go. Second conversation, the one that I had with this person. I think you guys are seeing her. I can't find her. Somehow she's on the screen, but I can't see her. Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay. Anyway, you saw that ghoulish girl. Who I forgot what she's called. Not girl. Yeah, maybe that's just called herself. Awkward. Artwork by Living Dead Girl. Living Dead Girl. I said ghoulish girl. Terrible. Terrible miss. Artwork by Living Dead Girl. Nicole. See those cute little figurines that she's got on there that people love, those little collectibles, little personal items like that. That cute, ugly kind of thing. So ugly it's cute or whatever. But it's freaking awesome. Her stuff is really cool, and the art that she does and her medium and the stuff that looks, you should definitely check it out. That's not at all that is what I am saying. That is what I'm saying, is you should definitely check out her work, and I hope that people will. But the conversation that we had was, we're at this point where people are talking about, okay, creating publicly. What does it mean, right? So as an artist, you pour your heart into these things. It can be a very private and intimate, meditative moment, inspiration from the inside, right? But now we have this opportunity to share our work. But how do we get our work out into the world if we want to make a living at it? How do we get our work out into the world? Holding it up for the world to see. That's one way, right? Hey, here's a picture of my picture of my work. Come talk to me and we can work it out. Absolutely. Another way is to show your process actually live or in some way record your process and show it, right? Um, and then, so that opens up this debate, which is the debate that we had, or discussion that we had. It was great discussion about creating art versus creating art for content. People love to watch the process of things, right? Absolutely. When you go out and you go to those art shows and you go to those things, you watch draws your people in, demonstrating your art, right? I mean, everything from what do they call them? This is how I use one too, by the way. Chainsaw. That's why I almost lost a finger. But no, seriously. From the wood carvings and the blacksmiths, you ever been to a place where they do that? To people doing fine art and jewelry, painting, caricatures, all those things, all those forms of art that people love to watch live. People love to watch live. But Nicole brought up the point was, yeah, people love to watch that live, but what does that do to the artist and the art process, the intimacy? And I say there's room for both. I say there's room for both. I think it's not unheard of that artists like Bob Ross, right? He did those paintings, right? He had the ones that he just did over and over again, 300 of them done out the door, one of 300, which is still pretty great. Versus those individual, every single piece is the exact same, right? I mean, I'm just digging in and thinking about it. What do you guys think? What do you guys think out there in the world? Are you interested in this idea? Would you be more likely to feel connected to an artist if they were performing it, i.e., doing their art, still doing it the same way, but showing you how the sausage is made, so to speak? Again, not for content, but it is for content. It's commercial. I mean, how do you find that delicate balance between personalization, the private part of the creative process, and being able to make a living at it, allowing people to support you for the work that you're doing by showing them how you're doing it? And so I think maybe the answer might be somewhere in the middle, right? Wouldn't it be cool, like if you had your favorite artist who made, I don't anything, right? What our show's all about, the making of things. Look, I got this guy right here. Anybody curious how he was made? I don't know. I'm not that curious about it. Actually, I just like him. He's funny. But take a look uh at Nicole's art, which is amazing art. And she makes those custom for people, but they're so cool. Wouldn't you just want to see her make a generic one to show how her process works, and then maybe talk to her about making one for you that she can go and spend some private time and you can support her making one specific for you? Doesn't have to be every piece of content that you make. I think it's interesting. And I also absolutely respect that private versus public creation. I do understand, like, it's a meditative process too, right? It's not just I'm out on here on camera to do it. It is becoming a thing where creation is expected to be visual. I'm leaning into it. I love it. I love doing it live, showing you how I'm doing it, just showing up every day, talking about it. Because I think it's important. I think it's a way people learn. But we do risk losing something, and that's what Nicole pointed out to me is that mystery, that soul, that silence, that intimacy. There's something sacred about that, and I agree 100%. I always think, as always, that there's room for all of it. There's room for all of it, all things in their right place. But I don't know. That was just two conversations that were too undeniably connected. However, my conversations and my connections are going these days, undeniably connected about the art. Um, Both Ambra and Nicole doing some really, really cool things out there. And I'm just excited to be part of watching stuff unfold, supporting it, submitting. I guess I submit myself every day, but it's still just a thought, an idea that I love to talk about. And that's what being connected to people who are creating out there in the world and helping people to amplify their voice, even uh, as I'm doing it for myself. So I love it. I love it. I think it is an amazing cultural shift we're having right now. Being able to be authentic and live online. Um, it's just a really cool connection of the human and the digital, right? Everyone's worried about the verses, but how about the and? So that's where I'm at today, right? So my six strings reflection, I'm trying to connect things back to, as always, our six strings here on Kindness Rising. We're talking about, of course, kindness, the leader of them all, balance, action, self-awareness, growth, and curiosity. The six strings, self-awareness. What part of me, I'm asking myself, what part of me stopped creating something because it was judged? What part of my authentic self, regardless of whether I'm creating for someone else or whatever, is being stopped because it was being judged? Kindness. What if someone's silence hides their abandoned passion? I'm going to reach out to people and say, create for me if I'm the only place where you can feel safe to create for. And I promise we'll grow together, which is the growth. What would it look like for me to continue to make things together, whether that's for myself or for us together here on Kindness Rising or in other areas? There's something inside of me that's looking to create, and I'm starting to. It's amazing. It's amazing. I love it. Love it. So here's your kindness call for today. Not an invitation, or it is an invitation, excuse me, not to become an artist, not to become an artist, but just to remember, what did you stop making? What would it look like if you returned to it quietly, without submission, without evaluation, and without performance? Just expression for yourself, perhaps. That's what we're talking about here on Kindness Rising. And we're going to get right on over to Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, and friends here on the Mornings in the Lab network. And if you're interested in learning more about the impact of going live and what it really means to do that, I'm going to be out there. I'm going to be over there, and then I'm going to be in a conference room, virtual conference room, at 8:30 this morning for a drop in. If anybody wants to drop in to the conference room, get on over to Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, and friends, and check out my LinkedIn profile for the conference room link if you're interested in learning more about what we're doing here, because I should have brought that conference room link with me, but I didn't, because apparently I didn't. So anyway, get on over there. They are getting after it right now. I am trying to get to that conference room link. Oh boy. All right. Well, We end with a little bit of a clunk today because it's a new learning today. It's a new learning. In 29 minutes, this event is going to be going on. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Took way too long for it to happen, but tomorrow, holy moly. I'm going to try this over and over again. There's the link I'm going to be at 8:30. Okay. You live and you learn. You get smoother over time. That's the show for today. Keith and John are waiting for you over at Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, and friends. Tomorrow, I'll be back with more conversation. Actually, I have a guest tomorrow. Come back and join me with my guest, Melissa Goodwin. We're going to be talking about all kinds of good stuff in terms of HR and helping women entrepreneurs to grow. So I am excited about getting together with Melissa tomorrow. Come on back and learn some more here at Kindness Rising. And until then, stay uncommon and stay kind.
What if your mornings could be inspiring and ridiculously fun?
Kindness Rising isn't just a show, it's a full wake-up vibe.
It's freaking fun, people.
Yeah, man, it's got real get-after-it energy.
I love it.
Wake up with Kindness Rising.
I help purpose-driven people grow their impact. 5-ingredient recipe to help you build your personal brand. Get out there and take kind action.
If it's live, they'll feel it.
On Kindness Rising, we bring you proven strategies and fresh ideas you can actually use. If you're not failing, you're not trying.
Exactly. Fail fast, rebound faster.
You'll see the bloopers and the genuine connections that make kindness contagious. We sometimes get into a little bit of trouble.
Pretty much my life made the list.
You can trust what you see right here is honest, respectful, and uplifting. Social impact organizations, and we always talk about them. Try kindness. It's way cheaper than therapy. You just made my day.